Welcome to the Zompire Horde Podcast. Join us every Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, as your hosts, Vlad the Rad and Michelle of the Dead, discuss horror, true crime, and the macabre. Episodes available on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Join us, won't you? Hello, and welcome back to another Zompire Horde Podcast, where I, your host, Vlad the Rad, along with my sister from another mister, Michelle of the Dead, talk true crime, horror, and the macabre. Now,
Mostly the macabre.
The macabre. This week, we actually have a very special guest. We're going to bring on Alan Danzinger, who played Jerry in the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which you should know because you can see his bobblehead here and the little van he drove. My hand doesn't go that far over there.
That's because you're missing a finger. That's why your hand doesn't go that far.
Wheezy McNubbin. So let's go ahead and bring on old Chainsaw Jerry.
All right. Hey.
Mr. Alan Danziger. How's it going? Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Glad to do it. Glad to be here. Glad to be anywhere at this age. So the time of my life.
So, well, most people will recognize you from the 1974 Tobe Hooper / Kim Henkel classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You played Jerry, the van driver, but you were a group of friends, yeah?
You mean a group of that I knew them?
Well, you were the driver of the van, but you were friends with your character was friends with Sally and Franklin and
my girlfriend.
Sally was your girlfriend. I was going to actually try to clarify that.
Forrest Leachman, he was my boyfriend. He was my and young Frankenstein. No, yeah. So no, she's you wouldn't know it. I mean, there's very little romance going on, between us. But that was, I guess, in 1974. There was not too much romance going on.
The next thing you know, it's a Debbie Does Dallas film.
No, it was
I don't know. What year did that come out?
No, it was Debbie Does Dialysis was the that would be now at this age, yeah.
Well, the reason I actually brought that up is because you have a very good story about your parents seeing the film, or was it the trailer?
No. There's a couple of stories. The one with my parents where they were retired in Florida, which is the law if you're Jewish. That's a Jerry Seinfeld line. But anyway, when the movie came out and I told my parents about it, they wanted to go see it for some crazy reason. So they went with my aunt and uncle and they ended up seeing it. This is 1974 and they showed it in a porno theater.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a double feature with Chainsaw. The second feature was Debbie Does Dialysis.
Oh my God.
And during the movie, when I go in to get killed, my mother stands up in her native tongue, starts yelling at the screen for me not to go in there. And they almost ushered her out of the theater, for doing that. But when they called me to make sure I was still alive. So
that's awesome.
That's hilarious.
And then the other thing is when the movie did come out, my son Jason I think he was about 5. So I just wanted to take him just that he could see his dad, in the movie, and I would just show him the trailer. And I did, and that's almost 50 years ago. He's still in weekly therapy. That was the impact that movie had.
Speaking of the impact at the time of filming, you guys, it took you kind of a long time to realize the impact that it really had on not only the horror genre, but really like films in general, because at the time we didn't have a lot of, the quote unquote slashers like Halloween and Friday the 13th.
Exactly. In fact, when we were making the movie, I really didn't have that much belief that it was going to be anything. In fact, a lot of people, I said, I think this is going to be a turkey. Back then,
right.
That was the term. But in fact, I remember that Toby called me in to just see some of the rushes. And he asked me, he said, Alan, what do you think we could do to improve the movie? And I said, have the seats facing away from the screen. He never called me back. But once the movie was done and they edited and they changed the name from Leatherface or to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then they did that opening scroll,
right.
with John Larroquette, it just became brilliant. I mean, it really captured I'm starting to like the movie.
Well, and it's funny too because a lot of people attribute that scrolling with Star Wars, but really, Texas came out 3 years prior because I believe
Exactly.
Star Wars was 77.
Yeah.
There, but typically you get the Star Wars scroll, but really, yeah, Texas was the first one. And oddly enough, for as much of a Texas fan I am, and growing up and watching Night Court, I didn't actually know John Larroquette did that opening until probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was kind of an interesting thing.
And I think he does, and he does the. I think in the new one. I mean, the new Netflix one. I think
Walder.
that also.
Uh,
He does a voiceover.
So one of the questions I actually did want to ask you, since you brought up the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, have you seen it yet?
Yeah. In fact, we were there for the premiere. And we
Right.
sat here at the Alamo Draft House, and then we had dinner with some of the staff, Ed Neal and several other people
It's okay.
that were in the
How
original.
fun.
Along with who's that barking? Is that your dog?
Yeah, he's my
Okay.
my dog's next door going crazy, so he's going a little
The
crazy.
director David Blue Garcia was there, and they introduced us at the Alamo Draft House, and I enjoyed the movie for what it was. You know what I mean? I mean, some of the kills were there's some funny parts to it, so it works either way. The people that like it, fine. They don't like it. It's hard to to equate it with the original. It seems like we stand up to everything. So
Right, exactly.
it's all good.
One of the things I'd be bummed out if I didn't ask you though, in relation to that movie, is when you watched it, what was your feeling on how they treated Sally's character?
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Okay.
There was like a disrespect that shouldn't have been like that.
I was hoping that I wasn't the only one that felt that way.
They didn't need to do that, but
Yeah, I thought that the character had a lot more to it, and coming off of 74, the way it was supposed to be, like kind of a in canon to 74, that
Right.
they could have done so much more with her character, and just to bring her in that late to kill her off, I felt was like pretty cheap, and you know what I mean. It just didn't hold up for me. That was my major qualm with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Back in 1974, when you guys were filming this, I've heard different kind of takes on it about the weather and how it affected, with the so many hours of filming.
Oh,
Whether
I've
or
read
not
about this. Yes.
it was like directed by Toby to kind of put you guys in those conditions, or if it was just, hey, we're filming in Texas in the summertime, that's the way it's going to be.
Well, it's a combination. I mean, I got off pretty lucky. The worst part was in the van, because the windows are up. There's no AC. It's
Right.
brutal. I mean, it's 120 degrees, and you got lights in there, and you got Toby and a cigar, basically. So it was pretty rough, but it was also, for the most part, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoyed everything.
Yeah. One of the things that Carl York said, he's the one who played Alan Yates in Cannibal Holocaust, when we spoke to him, was that Diodaro, I believe is his last name, the guy who made that film, how he put them through certain like rough things in order to get, the real feel for those characters, because that was more of a found footage film. So I was curious if, Toby kind of did that to pull out.
I think so. I mean, I don't think we were hip to it at the time, but it's like he kept us apart, from, I didn't see Leatherface actually until I actually get killed. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
so I didn't know what he looked like or anything. And I was working with kids. I was doing a summer camp. So they worked around my schedule. So after I did my scenes, I didn't hang out, get to know the other people. It wasn't until after the movie came out that Gunnar and I became really good friends. In fact, he lived with me for the summer before he moved to Maine, and then we became really good friends. And I realized what a terrific guy he was. Really bright, sensitive, and it was just an absolute pleasure getting to know him.
What did since you were good friends with Gunnar, and we don't have this opportunity to ask him, what was his feeling, about the film after the fact? Maybe years later, did you guys reminisce on it? And he was like, any good, like, things he said or felt about, being in that film?
It's funny because when we really talked about it, he was working on his book, Chainsaw Confidential. I don't know
Right.
if you've read the book, and there's some some parts that we talked about, but I think he may have felt like they didn't really give him his due, because when
Yeah.
the other movies came out, they didn't use Gunner, for
Yeah.
any of the other movies, and so I think there was some hard feelings, I think, amongst with Gunner and some of the other staff, that we just weren't treated all that well. But that's a long time ago. It is what it is, and
Right.
I'm thankful that I got to be in it.
Well, and I feel like anybody in my generation, and maybe Michelle would agree with me here, when you look at the horror icons, like if you were building the Mount Rushmore, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
probably got your Freddy, your Jason, your Michael, but to me, 74 Leatherface, and specifically Gunner, everyone attributes Kane Hodder to this lumbering, kind of mass. Gunner is the shape to me. He is the boogeyman to me. He had that lumbering, scary force. And one thing I always say about Texas, the reason I fear Leatherface is Leatherface was a real person. Jason was this entity. Michael was this boogeyman who just showed, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but Leatherface was the real deal. And I think that that's why Texas carries so much more weight when it comes to like really terrifying movies, when a lot of people may laugh off Child's Play, Freddy Krueger, and those sorts of things.
Yeah, and it's a believable movie. I mean, the way it's shot, the graininess, and it just that, and it's Texas, so people think, this is Texas. This could happen here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how does a kid from the Bronx get into this movie, but it all worked out, and people are just so nice, when I go to the conventions and stuff like that. I mean, I've never met such nice people, because I think the first one that I did was in, I think, 2004 in Ohio, Cinema Wasteland. And honestly, as I've said before, I thought I'd be meeting mainly serial killers, wannabes anyway. And it turned out these were the nicest people. They just loved this genre. And,
yeah.
And once they're your fans for life. I mean, they're just beautiful to us.
We do have a question we'll throw up here. It says, settle the debate. Who's more of the annoying character, Franklin in Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Shelley from Friday the 13th? Are you familiar with Friday the 13th?
I probably would have to go hands down Franklin.
Yes, I would say.
We all wanted to kill him. And he stayed in character throughout, so none of us wanted to deal with this guy.
You guys didn't get a break.
Yeah, and then when I met him at a convention, I think it was 2004, he again was the sweetest guy. You know, he just felt like if he took that character off, he couldn't get it back on, and so he stayed with them throughout the filming.
So I do want to talk. One of the things, we are friends on Facebook, so I see that you've been working on, and I feel like you just accomplished fully, was you recreated your own van, right, from Texas?
Yeah, I think in December, I was just scrolling. There's so many like chainsaw fan clubs, and different, websites and stuff. And I was scrolling through, and I saw the same van, that I drove in the movie, and it had a for sale sign on and a phone number. And I said, well, I'm sure it's gone, whatever. And so I called the number, and a guy by the name of Scott Key answered the phone. And it turned out he's the great, great, great nephew of Francis Scott Key, who wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So I said, by any chance, would you still happen to have the van? And he said, yes, I do. And I said, well, I'm the OG. I gotta do it. And so we worked the deal. I had to figure out how to get it. It was in South Dakota, and it was up on a rock, for about 20 years. I had no gas tank or anything. And so we worked the deal, and he actually brought it down from South Dakota to Austin.
Wow.
We took it over to my mechanic, Chris Miller, and he did in like 4 months what would normally take maybe a year and a half. And he got it where it's running, and we got it, and a fan came up with the right color of the original van. So we had it painted, but it wasn't the right color for me. And so this guy, Jeff Paris, a super chainsaw fan, came up with the color. We repainted it, And for my 80th birthday, a couple of weeks ago, I called the people out in Kingsland that are over the house where they moved they moved the house where we shot the movie. And I said, for my 80th birthday, I'd like to take the van out. And I have Ed Neal, and actually Grandpa was going to come out also, but
John Dugan.
he couldn't do it. And we were going to take photo ops, and I was going to donate all the monies to the families in Uvalde.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Check out the shirt.
So.
Oh yeah.
There you go. And and as it turned out, the couple that are over the bar, Brad and Sandy Jones, her daughter was actually at that school when that shooting was going on.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So just to tie in, they were just happy to do it. And I think we raised close to $10,000 in like less than 3 weeks. Yeah. Right.
That's amazing.
So it was just a great time. And the people that came out, they got to meet with us. We did a dinner the night before, like a VIP dinner. They showed the movie later that night. And there must have been several hundred people that showed up.
Oh, wow.
England. So it was really one of the best days of my life, actually.
That is
I would
awesome.
imagine. Now, do you make it over to the gas station over in Bastrop very often?
Yeah. I in fact, some months ago, I was the guest of honor at a heavy metal Texas Chainsaw wedding.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. And
That's awesome.
the bride walked down the aisle with a sledgehammer, and the groom had a chainsaw. And
That's awesome.
Bill Johnson, Leatherface, in the second movie, did the ceremony. He married them.
Oh, wow.
It was a happening.
I'd just like to point out my old man is watching from Pennsylvania. So, hey, Dad.
Oh, hi, Dad. We've had a lot of questions pop up, even from before we started recording.
Hey, look, man, I'm fanboying right now with one of my one of the
I'm just
legends
reminding you
from the original. I'm trying to get.
I know you are Texas Chainsaw Massacre's biggest fan. Honestly,
true.
It's true.
Well, so one of the other things I did want to talk about too was, and I don't remember the name of the family, but
yeah.
There's a story that there was a mob family attached to financing the original Texas Chainsaw. Can you kind of elaborate more on that?
Oh yeah. I think it was the Piranha family. Something. Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
What I like to tell people, the real massacre took place after the movie. Because, this movie was shooting up the charts, with a bullet. I used to collect them from Variety, where the movie, and it actually had beaten Bruce Lee's movie, Enter the Dragon or whatnot. And it was like going to #1. And then, we'd get a royalty check for like $50. So when I said, what's wrong with this picture? And so, we started to say, there's something not happening here. And then as it turned out that the mafia were the distributors. And so all the monies that were gone, they took it, whatever they did with it. And it was something they finally got the movie back, but it took years. And so the big monies, were gone.
Yeah. Wow. That's insane. I wonder how much money, were you guys?
Probably millions.
Oh yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And was that through Henkel, or was it through like a parent company, or?
Yeah. It was, well, as it turned out, there were just so many, there were more hands in that pie than the Muppets. And so, when we did, they didn't have that much, we got paid very little. In fact, I got more money for not being in a movie than I got for being in the movie. When we showed a clip of the 3D movie, I got more money for that than I got for being in the movie. But they gave us a percentage of the movie, thinking probably nothing's going to ever happen.
Right.
And so, I mean, I still get, and I'm happy to get, a royalty check, still after almost 50 years. But if I would have gotten that money back then, I could have done something with it. That's why, you don't see me out on the corner.
Right. Now, are you ever out in public and see somebody wearing like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre shirt or jacket, or something to that effect, that it kind of like it comes full circle and hits you?
You know what? I mean, when I'm a little shy, I mean, you would know that, but I am. So when I go out in public, I usually wear a shirt over this shirt.
Okay.
And but some people see it through, and they said, "I love that shirt." And I said, "Yeah, it's my shirt." They said, "I know it's your shirt. You're wearing a shirt." That's me on the shirt, and then they go nuts, So
And that
it's a lot of fun.
and that's one that they can get on your website, right?
Yeah, they can get that. I've got my talking bobbleheads that were voted best bobblehead in Austin.
Nice.
I would have to agree.
There we go.
Look at that.
I
Look
may
at that beauty.
I may have stole a picture from it off of Google.
And then a fan made, action. Let's see, action figures of me.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna need one of those because I have everyone else.
Go to the website, and there's all kinds of fun stuff, T-shirts and whatnot, and then photos. They can pick out what photo they want. And
Look at that.
She actually, Michelle here, has a van similar, isn't it? Pretty close.
I am a big fan of the vintage car. I have a '68 Chevy Sports van.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. So I appreciate the van. It seems like all the cool horror movies have a cool van in it. It's
right. Well, the original van was a '72. I have a '74. It's a Ford Econoline, and
we have a Ford Econoline, a '62, also.
And then I also have my line of Chainsaw Jerry's Killer Beef Jerky.
Does it taste like human?
What is it? And on the blade it says, "We were the meats." And that adds a little bit of Jerry in every bite, but it's really good.
I'm gonna have to try that.
All kinds of stuff. Who would have thought?
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy how, what are we at? Like almost 47, 48 years now since the.
It will come to our 50th anniversary. The movie, we shot it I think we started in July of '73, and then it came in '74. So the next 2 years, I just want to stay vertical, so that we'll be here for for that 50th anniversary.
Absolutely. I would hope that they do something very spectacular for you guys, and that we can keep all of you around that long. With the company, we've done signings with John Dugan and Ed Neal, and I wanted to ask you, because Ed, is he as wacky as the hitchhiker in real life?
Completely. That's
it is.
Yeah. He's a fun. He's on 24/7.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite people to talk to because he really. I know why they now casted him as the hitchhiker. It makes sense.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got stories. I mean, I light up a room by leaving it. He's just opposite.
I felt Bill Moseley did the same thing for Chop Top in Texas too. Like he's such that did that character so well that it's hard to imagine anyone else doing anything with it. You know what I mean?
And actually, I did a voiceover for a movie that I hopefully will be coming out at the end of the year. It's called a couple of movies. One is called Cannibal Comedian.
Oh, okay.
And it's about a cannibal that goes into stand-up comedy. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I did another scene for a movie called Storage Locker. I haven't seen it, but I think they're gonna show it in September here in Austin, and then he's gonna present it at some different like Sundance or whatever different festivals to see.
Right. Now on your website, do you offer people to buy autographs like 8x10s?
Yeah.
Like that?
Everything that anything that they want, they can get on the website, chainsawjerry.com.
Yeah, let me throw that back up for everybody just in case they didn't get a chance to write that down. To me, honestly, I can't tell you how much of an honor it is to have you on this show. Well, I have at least 4 Texas Chainsaw Massacre tattoos on me. I love the movie, and I certainly appreciate everything you guys did back there in the heat of Texas for us, because it really did change the face of horror as far as I'm concerned. And it really brought a more gore, and you didn't, that was the craziest thing about Texas. And I'm sure you would agree. The Pam scene, one of the things I love to talk about is you don't actually see that happen. But if you play that in your brain, every one of us watches that hook go in, and you know what I mean? And it's just such a mind-boggling way, like you guys really messed with our brains.
and
Thank you for it.
And the way the movie is shot, I mean, it was shot beautifully. You know, so I mean,
Yeah.
there's some iconic shots that Daniel Pearl did, and it's beautifully shot. You know, realizing that with the budget maybe was like 40 or 50,000, and was nothing.
That's
They
insane.
ended up having to sell parts of the movie to finish it. You know, so
Yeah.
that's why, you know, what we thought we had a percentage of 100%, we had a percentage of another percentage of another percentage. So,
I'd like to ask Terry McMinn if her highest sold 8x10 is the booty shorts walking up to the house, because I've heard quite a few times that's everyone's favorite scene from the movie.
That's
Mine is Leatherface in front of the door with the hammer. That just looks so brutal with all the skulls.
Yeah. I just recall, I mean, my death scene, like I say, I hadn't seen him, and I just got myself all worked up. I had them blindfold me.
Oh,
Outside of the house until they yelled action, and then I go in, you know, so I'm seeing everything for the first time.
oh wow.
And then, you know, the freezers, you know, the sounds of the freezer, and then I open up the freezer and she pops out. I mean, that's all, you know, and then I hear the sound of Leatherface. I see him. I freaked out completely, you know, and I ran out of that house, you know, and Toby had to yell cut and come over to Alan. That's a great scream, but you got to wait for him to be in the shot. We had to do it a few times, and it worked out.
I will say I actually rewatched it today just to kind of to have the sound of chainsaws going and screaming, because you know who doesn't like that. Right. And I paid attention in your kill scene, and I will have to say you and Jamie Lee Curtis could go back and forth. That scream was pretty high. I mean, it was a good one. It was not the William scream.
What can I say? I'll cop to that.
I had to rewind it.
There was real fear in that scream.
Yeah, it was total terror.
And we don't know what clip they used. That could have been the first one. So maybe that was the first time you saw him, and that was just that's just what came out.
They ended up a couple of the guys that were like the grips or the gappers. They had me by my belt loops behind me, and so when the hammer came down, they pulled me down.
Oh wow!
I tell people, I mean, that shot that I took, that's.
Oh no!
He froze.
Oh no! Unfreeze him.
I can't unfreeze him. I don't have the power of the interwebs.
Dude. Uh-oh. Well, now what do we do?
Well, we'll talk quickly here for a minute, and we'll see if he comes back on. Somebody here in the Facebook user says the way Leatherface opens the metal sliding door is just horrifying. And I would agree. It is pretty goddamn horrifying. Corey Top says, no. We agree, Tori. We agree, Corey. Unfortunately, it looks like they froze, so I'm going to back them out. And we were actually coming pretty much to a close anywho. Well, I mean, you know.
Okay.
I mean, what else would I mean, you know, talk to me here. What's up?
Bring them back. Try to bring them back.
Bring them. Well, we'll stay on. If they come back, they come back. And, you know, if not, we could still talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, my family reunion survivor shirt.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Hey.
Very
I
nice.
wore that,
Very
you know,
nice.
for the show.
Yeah. I don't have any Texas Chainsaw gear. I'm going to have to change that.
You're going to need something.
I know. So.
One Solved Mystery says, come back, Jerry. Lisa Navani Sauter goes, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Facebook, he just says, love seeing the decor. It's getting back. Hey,
where's Melissa? Where's Melissa?
Melissa Volan, where are you? That's a good-ass question.
I know. Maybe she's working.
I think I was just so excited to have someone from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I know. That is so incredible.
Here we go.
Yay! You fixed it. Woohoo!
It's the Matrix.
He's back. They're back. Welcome back.
You know, I didn't know. My job here is CJ.
Well, don't worry. We'll make sure he doesn't dock your pay.
No. Are there any other questions that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much answered them. Michelle the Dead. I mean, do you have anything?
Oh, no, but that Melissa is here. She's under Facebook user.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
No, somebody at the beginning said, World Order Collectibles asked, what was the inspiration for this character, and was it easy to switch off and on from this horrific, amazing character? Growing up, did you ever think he would play such an iconic character? How did you even get that part? Did you like?
That's a good question. I was in Toby's first movie, a movie called Eggshell. And I think the movie, maybe 30 people saw that movie.
Eggshell.
It was like a cinema verite where they came to my house at the time. I was doing social work, and the movie was about a young couple named David and Amy. And if you have a chance to see the movie, it's worth seeing because it's Austin in the 60s, and it's kind of a psychedelic hippy dippy type of movie. And they kept adding scenes for me to be in throughout the movie. And so I guess they thought I was funny or whatever. And then the movie came out. Nobody saw it. It got, again, tied up in some legal stuff. And then 4 years later, I hear from them. They say, we've got this part for you to play. Jerry, I guess the wiseacre, character. And I took the script and I read it in like an hour and a half. And I mean, I was mesmerized. I thought it was really good. And so I said, I'll do it. And I wasn't an actor. And if you look at some of these reviews of the movie where they refer to me as this 30-year-old disco stew dude, you'll know. It's pretty hilarious, but that's all good. So I love it. Because I mean, I didn't take any acting classes. I wasn't a drama student or anything like that. But it worked, and a lot of the lines that they use are my own lines that I made up or put in in the script as we were doing it, and it just seemed to work out.
You can YouTube Eggshells. Just YouTube Eggshells Toby Hooper, and it'll come out.
It'll come up. Yeah, we'll have to check that out. I'm interested in it. Fright Paul wants to know that besides the original, of course, which you were in, do you have another favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre or like any of the sequels or reboots? Did you watch any that you felt were like stood maybe not up there with 74, but
I mean the one with Jessica Biel. Jessica Biel. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, the 2003.
Yeah, I like the 3D one in some ways. One is with what's her name, Alexandra Daddario.
Yeah.
And they use a clip. They use a clip of the first movie, and that's the one where I got more money for not being in the movie. I like that. And then the new one that David Blue Garcia directed, they use a Polaroid of us from the original movie throughout that movie. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
So I like parts of different movies and stuff, and some are so over the top. They're ridiculous. I mean, the one with Matthew McConaughey and Renee's, these are two A-lists, but that's over the top.
Right. Well, I love telling people about that movie because it's one of the least well-known Texas Chainsaw Massacres, and I always relate it to Jennifer Aniston being in Leprechaun, because another not very well-known horror movie, but I guess it's well-known amongst horror people, but outside of the genre, it's not very well-known. But that's where
Kim Hinkle, he directed the movie with Renee and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, Kim Hinkle did that, and but I mean, it's amazing that something like that has taken on that kind of iconic thing. Where you got all these different sequels, and I think in the new one, my name is Jeremiah Huberman. I don't know where they came up with that, and so the name changed, in various ways, but it's all good.
Is that one of the things that you're aware of? Is the different like timelines, and how they relate between the Sawyers and the Hewitts and all that, or
it's almost like it's above my pay grade, to figure that out. So we'll see. There'll probably be a couple of more yet, when it's done, and I've got some ideas of my own of that people.
What you could do.
Jerry lives. He's not dead. So we'll see.
Well,
I
in
want to
the
start a drum roll to bring him back.
speaking of the 3D one, that's the one that actually Gunnar, Bill Moseley, I think,
Yeah.
and were you invited to come be in that, or
No. I mean, I think Marilyn, I think, is in that, and
yeah,
and I guess Bill Moseley,
John
yeah,
Dugan,
yeah, John and stuff like that. So
yeah,
no,
but they didn't call you,
no, they didn't.
bastards.
By the phone,
Wow.
I was waiting on that call.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they call you for the next one because I'd love to have you back in Texas on the big screen. Now you keep telling me you're a Brooklyn guy. I actually grew up in
Bronx.
the Bronx.
Yeah.
I actually grew up in Central Jersey, and so we're kind of in the same area there.
Yeah.
Did you went to Texas to go to school? Correct?
Yeah, no, yeah. I grew up I went to the Bronx High School of Science, and then I went to City College, and how I came to Texas was I was in my senior year, and I'll never forget this. And I was sitting in the library. It was like a gloomy day, and a guy by the name of Roland Chabot came up to me with a name like that. You know, he was destined for stardom. He said, "Alan, why so glum?" And I said, "I really don't know what I want to do. I'm graduating." And he says, "Why don't you go to Texas?" And I said, "I don't know how to ride a horse. I've never been." And he said, "They've got a psychology department, and it's new, and I think you could get in." And that was the impetus for me to apply, and I was accepted. And so I came down to Texas, to Austin, and the best move I ever did.
And
And
do
I'm
you,
still here.
and that's a part of like kind of the Jerry kind of hippie vibe they have
Yeah.
there in Austin is what kind of dragged you in and kept you there.
Right. In
So
fact, and the attire, I mean, I still have it. I've got the bell bottoms, and I loaned the shirt that I wore in the movie to I forget his name, Ron Bozeman, who actually went on to win Academy Awards. But there's a long shot in the movie where you don't really see me, and he said, "Can I borrow your shirt?" And I made the dumb mistake of saying, "Of course you can."
Oh.
So they shot the scene. I never got the shirt back.
Oh no.
And a fan by the name of David Munoz, a terrific guy, he searched for like years and found similar material. Nothing but and so I have a shirt that I had made, and I wore it at the at Frightmare.
Oh, okay.
On my 80th birthday. A lot of people don't even didn't remember that, but so I'm trying to, and I got the glasses, the retro glasses and stuff like that. So
yeah.
it's just Chainsaw Jerry the Geezer version. What can I say?
Now, do you typically do a lot of conventions every year, or
No, but now that we're coming into the 50th anniversary, I'm getting more calls, and hopefully I'll be able to do some. I think we'll be going back to Frightmare. That was the best one I've ever done. I mean, it was like a murderer's row of all the people that were still alive, other than I think one person didn't make it. So the fans got to see all of us that were still there. In fact, Kim Hinkle was there, and he does very few of these. So
right?
It was really, and people were lined up, and I think we did a Q&A, and it was standing room only. The place was packed. So it's
Jeff,
just really gratifying that for all these years that people want to talk to, an octogenarian,
yeah,
Gotta say goodbye to CJ. He's got to do his own.
no problem.
Hi, Steve.
Jeff Pruitt wanted to ask a question. He says, "What was your first reaction when you saw Leatherface for the first time before doing the scene?" But you pretty much already said the first time you saw him was in scene.
In the scene, yeah.
Yeah. I always, one of my favorite discussions is his killing mask, old lady mask, and pretty woman mask. So I'm sure you're familiar with all three.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite of Leatherface masks?
I like the original.
The one he was wearing when he killed you.
Yeah. I mean, now at this point, he would probably need to see an orthodontist. That. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was my favorite.
I always appreciated the pretty woman mask just because it's like when he was serving dinner, it was just so ridiculous. And I think at the time too, very forward thinking for the producer, or whoever decided to put makeup on Leatherface. It was such a brilliant move because it was, it made him that much, crazier when you see him in the mask with the makeup smeared on it.
Yeah.
And specifically in part 4, where he's the old lady wearing the nightgown and everything, watching him go through the mask transition was, I thought was very smart.
But now, after all these years, there's like revisionist history. Now they're saying we were the bad people. We were doing a home invasion. And entering, so he was in his rights.
I've heard that. I've heard that way of thinking.
Palace or whatever, so what are you going to do?
It's funny to hear people talk about getting into the mind of Leatherface and trying to, break him down as a character, as a person, or his mental abilities or disabilities and things like that. Because he's such like a basic, kind of thundering lug, who has a kind of a babiness about him, like a childlike, mentality about him. That born in any other situation, he would have been. I'm not sure he would have been Leatherface.
Oh yeah, and then you see after he gives me that shot, then he goes to the window and he sits down, and you can see he's upset.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was gloating. It was upset.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that just goes to say, like, kind of like the vulnerability of that character. Specifically too in Texas too, when he's in the room with Stretch, and he's kind of massaging her lady areas with his chainsaw. That again, you see a different Leatherface, a different Bubba than what the maniac that you would expect in that mask. It was just brilliant writing.
Yeah, no question. And I miss him. I miss all of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't really know Marilyn really all that well when we were doing the movie. And it was only years later that I realized what a sweetheart she was too.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get one of her autographs. My goal has been to collect as much 1974 stuff as I can. And she was one of the ones that unfortunately passed before I was able to get it, but I was able to get her autograph. And actually I have yours too, thanks to somebody else that sold me a letter.
And some years ago, I had a bed and breakfast in Luling, Texas, and we did an outdoor showing of the movie.
Wow.
And Marilyn and Terry came out, and it was really a fun evening. People had a great time.
Well, Alan, I just wanted to say, at least on my behalf and Michelle's, and I know everyone watching, we just really wanted to thank you for coming on and spending the night with us and talking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's such a influential horror movie, and I think it's going to outlive all of us for generations. And I'm very happy that you came on, and that's going to be your legacy. It's really amazing.
I hope so. And like I say, I never thought anything was like this would ever happen. So I'm just grateful to the fans, and to people like you that want to talk or revisit the movie and get my thoughts about it. It's keeping me going.
Yeah, well, as long as you're happy to talk about it, we're always happy to listen.
Yeah, horror fans are the best.
Yeah,
hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, and you guys.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, I cut him a little early, but
that was so awesome.
That was so amazing.
That was so pretty cool, man.
That we had him on. I think
is he living in Texas now?
Yeah, so he lives in Austin, Texas.
That's really funny.
Yeah, right. Being from the Bronx. So we got
all the credit goes to Vlad. Vlad, you did this.
Yeah, well, sometimes just making a little clickety or a little tappity
clack,
and it works out. Joe Tall, as he's known, such a great show, and I thank you, Joe. We appreciate that.
And Daddy-O showed up. That's cool.
Oh yeah, my dad watched.
Yeah, that's exciting. Cool. My parents never show up.
And my dad's not a big horror guy, so I'm pretty.
My parents aren't either, but they support my interests,
endeavors.
I'm excited. Very much so.
We are going to miss a show coming up. We'll probably have two more. and I'm actually solidifying a guest for the one after this next one. And then after that, I will be in Delaware and Rehoboth Beach for about 5 days with my family.
Okay.
So anyone in the Rehoboth Beach area, Baltimore, Delaware, Maryland, DC, let me know.
Yeah, go pick him up and get him the hell out of there. No, I'm just kidding.
So we will be missing a week then, and we'll let everyone know and we'll remind them. But
good show tonight, Vlad.
Did you have fun? Did you have a good time?
Yeah. What a sweet guy.
He was pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Really happy that we were able to get him on.
I know.
And then
who is his friend? Was he his computer guy or?
Yeah, it's his IT guy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Also, let me see if I have it right here. I'm working on a guest. It's not going to load. I hate Facebook on a computer. Oh wait, here we go. Where did it go?
I don't know, but who is it?
Oh, you know what? We'll make a post about it because I can't find it right now.
Okay. Oh yeah, we're still live. That's right.
Yeah. Such a legend.
Legend.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Corey Top, or Corey Bottom, as I like to call him, says, thanks, guys.
God.
Great show.
Hey,
thank you guys.
How's the new place? Is it good?
It's amazing. I got 12-foot vaulted ceilings. I got a creek
so
out back. I got just a ton of space, carpet.
Looks like your lighting is a lot better too.
My lighting is a lot better. There's light in my house. It's windy.
You guys have like a green belt or something?
I don't know what that is.
And a stream, some greenery.
Oh yes, we have trees outside and a creek. Literally, I could hit it with a paper airplane from here.
That is a green belt.
I'm excited.
Where you have like woods and shit next to your house.
Well, thanks again for tuning in to this episode of the Zombie Horde podcast, where I, your host, Vlad the Rad, and my always amazing, totally tubular sister from another Mr. Michelle of the Dead, talk about true crime, horror, and the macabre.
Yeah.
We will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Thank you for tuning in.
Peace.
Welcome to the Zompire Horde podcast. Join us every Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, as your hosts, Vlad the Rad and Michelle of the Dead, discuss horror, true crime, and the macabre. Episodes available on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Join us, won't you?